My parents abandoned me when I was fighting for my life. They were too consumed with celebrating my brother, so I gave them a dose of their own neglect in a way they never anticipated. I'm Derek, 30 years old, and I once ran a small custom motorcycle shop. That's behind me now. I'll explain why soon. Growing up in Bristol, Tennessee was tough, not because of the town, but due to my family's dynamics. I have a younger brother, Tyler, 3 years younger, who my parents treated like royalty. Our house was practically a monument to him. The living room could have passed for a baseball shrine, filled with his trophies displayed like treasures. Framed team pictures lined the walls, and his old jerseys were hung as if they belonged in a gallery. My parents even had a custom shelf built just for his gear. My accomplishments. I excelled in high school auto shop, even earning awards for engine rebuilds. Those, shoved in a drawer if they didn't end up trashed. I'd get a half-hearted nice work from my dad maybe once a year. At 16, I spent a whole summer restoring a worn-out Yamaha engine, working shifts at a gas station to buy parts. When I finally got it running, I was thrilled. I called my dad to the garage to check it out. He looked for maybe 10 seconds, muttered, "Looks fine, kid," then asked if I'd read about Tyler's latest game in the local paper. Really? That summed up my childhood. My mom would spend hours cooking Tyler's favorite pre-game meals, saying, "Gotta keep my champ strong." But when I had a bike show, "There's food in the fridge, Derek." Dad would leave work early for every one of Tyler's games, but was always too busy when I took second at a regional bike building contest. I stopped bothering to tell them about my events. Why waste my energy? And the money they poured into Tyler, private coaches, premium gear, travel teams across the state, must have cost tens of thousands, me. I worked 2 jobs in high school to afford tools and parts, never getting a dime for my passion. Oddly, I didn't hate Tyler for it. He wasn't cruel, just spoiled and clueless about the imbalance. Sometimes I'd catch him looking uncomfortable when they'd praise him right after dismissing me, but he never spoke up. Why would he? He had it all. By 18, I knew I had to escape before I lost my mind. I'd saved every penny and rented a small garage 8 miles from my parents' house. Close enough for them to reach me if they wanted, but far enough to avoid the constant Tyler worship. I built my motorcycle shop from nothing. No help from my parents, no loans, just me hustling. I worked 16-hour days, sleeping on a dusty cot in the shop's back room for the first year until I could afford a real place. It was grueling, but I was skilled. Word got around that I could fix and customize bikes better and cheaper than the big shops. That garage became my sanctuary. My dog, Max, would sprawl by the door, basking in the sun while I worked. In that shop, I felt like I mattered. Then there was Mia, who opened a small coffee shop next door 2 years ago. The first time she walked over with a welcome to the neighborhood coffee, I nearly dropped my tools. She was beautiful, witty, and seemed genuinely interested in talking about bikes and engines. My heart would race whenever she stopped by, but I kept things friendly. Why would someone like her be interested in a grease-covered guy like me? My family had made it clear I wasn't worth much, so I figured she saw me the same way. Life was good, though. Business was steady. I had Max, and Mia's visits were a highlight. I thought I was finally building something solid. Then, 2 years ago, a Tuesday changed everything, showing me exactly where I stood with my family. I was working on a high-end Harley for a rich client from Nashville who wanted complex custom work. The job was tough but paid well, so I was focused. Max was napping by the door, as always, while rock music blasted from my old speakers. I was using my plasma cutter to adjust the frame, a routine task I'd done countless times. But something went wrong. Maybe the metal was faulty or I lost focus. 1 second I was in the zone, the next there was a scream of metal, a shower of sparks, and the cutter jerked back, slicing deep into my right leg above the knee. I saw the blade flash as it cut, and the smell, God, the stench of my own flesh burning. I shouted, and Max jumped up, barking like he could fight whatever hurt me. Blood poured out, pulsing with my heartbeat. I collapsed, hitting my head on the concrete. The pain was unbearable, like my leg was being torn apart and burned simultaneously. I'd had injuries before, cuts, burns, fractures, but this was different. "Help! Anyone?" I yelled, but my shop was isolated, and no one could hear over the music. My hands trembled as I grabbed my phone, blood smearing the screen. I called my mom, barely able to talk. "Mom," I gasped, "I'm hurt bad. Cutter hit my leg, so much blood." Her voice was calm, like I'd called about a minor issue. "Derek, we're tied up with something big right now. Can you call 911? I couldn't believe it. "Mom, please," I begged, voice cracking. "I'm bleeding out. I need you." I was dizzy, the room spinning. "Just wait, Derek, we'll come when we can," she said, and the call ended. She hung up. I was sprawled on the floor, pressing a rag to the wound, but it was soaked red instantly. My vision blurred, darkness closing in. I tried dialing 911, but my fingers were too slick. Max was frantic, barking and nudging my face, trying to keep me conscious. Good boy. With my last strength, I tried my mom again. No answer. Then my dad, voicemail, of course. I started to fade, but Max's barking kept cutting through. Then my phone buzzed. Tyler's name appeared. I thought maybe they'd told him and he was checking on me. "Hey, Liam," his voice was loud, slurred, with party noise in the background. "Big day, man." I was confused. "Who's Liam?" "Tyler," I croaked. "Help, shop accident, bleeding bad, need you." A pause. I thought he didn't hear. Then he laughed. "Oh, damn, my bad. Thought you were calling about my draft. AA Braves signed me $2 million bucks." I heard my mom in the background. "Tyler, come pose with the scout." I tried to speak, but my voice failed. My dad's voice boomed. "That's my star, pro-bound." I was bleeding out 8 miles away while they celebrated Tyler's contract. They couldn't spare 10 minutes to save me. "Tyler," I whispered, but he'd hung up. The pain was fading, replaced by a cold, drifting numbness. I knew I was going into shock, probably dying. Max's barking grew sharper. Then the shop door flew open. "Derek, I brought coffee. Oh my God," Mia's voice. Her face appeared above me, horrified. "Derek, stay with me." She was on her phone, shouting at 911. "Ambulance now. Severe cut, arterial bleeding. He's fading." She ripped off her belt, tying it tightly around my thigh as a tourniquet. The pain jolted me awake for a moment. "Mia," I mumbled. "Don't talk. Save your strength," she said, her hands covered in my blood. "Ambulance is coming. Hold on, Derek." I wanted to say she'd already saved me, that if I died now, at least I'd see her face. Then I blacked out, her voice echoing my name. I later learned Max's relentless barking made Mia check on me. Without her, I'd be dead. The doctor said I was minutes from bleeding out. I woke to hospital beeps and that antiseptic smell. My leg burned, but I was alive. Mia was asleep in a chair beside me, still in bloody clothes. Even exhausted, she looked like an angel. The doctor came in, serious with his clipboard. "You're lucky to be alive. If your neighbor hadn't acted fast, you'd have been gone in 5 minutes." He paused, then delivered the news. "The cutter hit your femoral artery and damaged nerves and muscle. We saved the leg, but you'll need more surgeries. Full function is unlikely. Standing for long periods, probably not in your future." I knew what that meant. "So I can't work on bikes anymore," I said flatly. He nodded. "My life, my shop, my identity gone." Mia woke up, grabbing my hand. "I was so scared," she whispered. "There was so much blood, I thought I'd lose you." I tried to smile. "Thanks for saving me." She asked if my parents had visited. I shook my head, too exhausted to explain. Then my phone rang. "Dad," for a moment I hoped they cared. "Derek," he said, all business, "we need $25,000 for Tyler's gear and moving costs for his team." I felt like I'd been punched. "I'm in the hospital," I said, voice shaking. "I almost died yesterday. Where were you when I called?" A pause. "Don't be dramatic, Derek. It was just a cut." "A cut," I snapped. I nearly bled out. "The doctor said 5 minutes more and I'd be dead. You were too busy with Tyler's contract." Mia's eyes widened as she listened. "We're sorry," Dad said, irritated. "Tyler's signing is a big deal." "And my life isn't?" I sounded desperate. Silence. "Then we need that money next week." I hung up. I stared at my banking app. For 5 years, I'd sent them $1,000 a month to help with their mortgage. Now I saw it all went to Tyler. With a few taps, I canceled the transfers. Done. Mia sat beside me, stunned. "They ignored you while you were dying." I told her everything, growing up overlooked, calling them as I bled out, sending money they used for Tyler. She looked furious. "That's not family," she said. "That's wrong." She stayed with me that week, bringing real food, helping with the TV, keeping my spirits up. No one had ever cared like that. Then Tyler texted, "Heard you got hurt." "That sucks. Did you tell Mom and Dad you won't pay for my stuff?" "Not cool, bro. Family helps family." I didn't reply. Mom left a voicemail the next day. "Derek, I know you're upset, but Tyler needs this. We need the money. Call us." Mia deleted it. "You don't need that," she said, taking my hand. "I'm your family now. Me and Max." Her words hit deep in a good way. Her look wasn't pity. It was something more, something real. "The doctor said I'd need 2 more surgeries and months of therapy. Bills piled up, $80,000 even with insurance. My shop sat empty, rent still due. "I'm done," I told Mia one night. "No work, no money, no shop, it's all gone." "We'll figure it out," she said. "I'm not going anywhere." That night, the nurse called Mia my girlfriend. I didn't correct her. For the first time since the accident, I felt a flicker of hope. Recovery was brutal. I went from wrenching bikes to needing help to stand. 3 surgeries in 2 months, fixing damage, fighting infection, trying to repair nerves. Each time I hoped I'd be whole again. Each time the doctors' faces told me otherwise. Standing all day was impossible. My shop, my life's work was over. Bills drained my savings. Insurance fought every claim. Mia kept me grounded, driving me to appointments, bringing meals, talking about normal things. One night after therapy, I asked why she was doing all this. "Because I care about you, dummy," she said, then kissed me. It was messy, I was sweaty, on crutches, but it felt like salvation. "I've liked you since I moved in," she admitted, "kept bringing coffee, hoping you'd ask me out." "I thought you were just being nice," I said, feeling foolish. She laughed. "Not that nice." 2 weeks later, she moved in. It just happened, she was there most nights anyway. It felt right. My family, silent except Mom texting about Tyler's expenses. I blocked her. Money was tight. My identity as a mechanic was gone. "What now?" I asked Mia, staring at the ceiling. "I'm useless." "You're not," she said. "You know bikes better than anyone. Teach it." "Teach," I scoffed. "Who'd learn from me?" "Jamie," she said. The 19-year-old kid who hung around my shop asking questions. I called him. "Want to learn carburetors?" He showed up in an hour, ecstatic. I taught him at my kitchen table with diagrams and small parts, charging $20 a session. He told friends. Soon I had 5 students. I moved lessons to my garage for better tools. It wasn't much, but it covered some bills. Mia smirked. "Told you so?" "You're a good teacher," she said later. "Ever thought about a real trade school?" I laughed, but the idea lingered. My leg wasn't getting much better, pain, a limp, no long standing. I had to accept it. 4 months after the accident, I returned to my shop, not to work, but to teach. I set up a classroom corner with chairs and a whiteboard. 6 students now, mostly young guys who couldn't afford fancy schools. I kept fees low. Then my parents showed up. Mia called me tense. "Your parents are here." They walked in, ignoring my brace and cane. "Derek," Dad said, "we need to talk." They needed $40,000, $50,000 to fix Tyler's contract issues. "Sell this place," Mom said, gesturing at my shop like it was worthless. "It's just sitting here, help Tyler and you'll have enough to start over." I was stunned. "Sell my business. The one I built that I'm still running for Tyler's mess." "Don't be selfish," Dad said. "This isn't a real business, teaching kids to fix bikes." Mia stepped in, livid. "Selfish, he called you bleeding out and you ignored him. He's had 3 surgeries and you never visited. Now you want him to sell his livelihood for Tyler?" Mom snapped. "This is family business. Stay out of it." "No," I said. "Mia's family, you're not. Get out." They left, Dad slamming the door. Mia apologized for stepping in. I thanked her. That night I couldn't sleep, shocked by their audacity. The next morning I cut all ties, removed them as emergency contacts, updated my will to leave everything to Mia, barred them from my medical info. A week later, Mia suggested making the school official. "Register it, get certified." "That's expensive," I said. "Licenses, upgrades." "My coffee shop's doing well," she said. "I've got savings." "We'll be partners." "Business partners?" I asked. She kissed my cheek. "That too." We filed papers for Summer's Motorcycle Academy. Mia chose the name. My parents' approval once meant everything. Now I didn't care. Tyler texted. "Mom and Dad might lose the house over my contract. Can you help?" I replied. "You didn't care when I was dying. I've got a real family now. Good luck." Then I blocked him. Mia hugged me. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said. "I am." An old friend told me my parents lost their house, unable to pay the mortgage after bailing Tyler out. Dad's back at a hardware store. Mom's part-time at a mall. Karma. Tyler's career crashed. He showed up to training unfit with an attitude. They cut him after 1 season. He's an assistant coach at a small high school, still boasting about his almost pro days. The golden boy fell hard. 3 years later, Mia and I married in a small ceremony with friends and her family. Our school's certified with a 2-month wait list. We're planning a second location. My leg still hurts. I'll always limp. Some nights I wake up sweating, reliving that day. Mia's there holding me. My old family left me to die. My new one gave me a reason to live. That's enough. So what would you have done? Cut them off like I did or try to forgive? I wonder if I made the right choice. But looking at what I've built, I think it was the only one I could have made.